stones. Like I like that pickaxe idea, but I don't know.
I prefer the chick.
It must work though, because like, isn't that what the dwarven ram hammer does in one of its modes?
Yep.
Is like,
Yep.
so
Yeah,
it's gotta work.
Yeah.
No, the hammer works. They just don't want you to be able to use it at Saren stones. That's basically what they're saying.
So like,
it would be OP at Saren.
Why not just make it not work? It's like there's got to be a quick like this just doesn't work with Saren stones line of code you can put in there, right?
Of course.
I wouldn't say quick, but yes, that's something they could do.
I feel like it wouldn't be overly complicated as far as the complexity of tasks go, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know how, like, I don't know if there is any kind, like, if there's any kind of identifier for what kind of rock you are mining right now, like, as far as pickaxes check, you know? So I can't say that it wouldn't be, I can't really guess that it would be simple just for that fact. That, like, who knows if right now pickaxes probably have no idea what kind of rock you're hitting. They would have to implement a system where a pickaxe knows what kind of rock you're hitting.
Aren't they doing that, though? Because you won't be able to mine certain rocks with low-tier pickaxes now. You're going to need those higher-tier pickaxes.
I have no idea.
I think that was one of the things that they... Yeah, that's why we're going to have those up to level 90 pickaxes now.
Maybe.
Anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, moving on. The Mining Guild niche, level 60 mining requirement, is the best place to get the level 60 Oracle site ore, and a convenient source of L50 runite for when you're making Elder Rune bars. Will reduce the amount of rocks in the guild because there are far too many right now.
I kind of wish they would make the guild like super useful. Like,
Yeah,
I really want to see guilds be more useful when you're level 90 plus in a skill.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like
They used to be really cool back in like the really early days, but
yeah, back when
What's
like level 60 was hard to get in mining and shit like that.
What's halfway? Level 94 is halfway, isn't it?
92, I think.
92.
92.
Yeah.
92. Okay, well, just make all guilds. 92. You've got to be halfway through, and then you're able to enter a guild, and as you said, have something really useful in there for people.
I would love that.
Anyway,
you could just make the guilds. You can get into them, and then as you level up, the guilds become better.
That's true too. I have locked off sections that you can only enter. once you
Guild
hit a certain level.
quests.
yeah,
It's like story quests, only they didn't suck. Or they won't suck. I haven't made them yet. Go ahead.
Okay, our crabs need balancing. The Serenstone niche will be high XP AFK with no ore, not counting the corrupted ore. We will need to find a role for crablets that makes sense. Have a tentative plan for Juju mining potions. As long as they're active, they have a chance to generate stone spirits, the replacement for bars dropped. Because of the way mechanics work, we will be making sure there are no sites with only 2 rocks that are right next to each other. Also, adding infinite ore in dungeoneering causes other balancing issues. Essence mining will probably not change, but we'll use a new system. Rock opportunities will be turned off for essence mining. Essence mining will not be the best way to level mining in free-to-play.
Ooh.
Both augmented and non-augmented crystal pickaxes will work for upgrading to the Pick of Earth and Pick of Song. Unsure whether the augmentations will persist or whether it's technically possible to do. So if you upgrade it, you may actually lose your perks.
They later said that it wasn't going to be like that because it was brought up that there is a precedent with Elite Dungeons coming out on Monday where Tier 90 armor is going to be upgradable to Tier 92. So I think they ended up saying later from what I remember, I could be getting this wrong, but I'm almost positive they ended up saying later in the stream that it was going to be a thing because the precedent's already been set. They don't want to make it not that way for skilling, but that way for PVM, which is a good thing.
Yeah, for once. Sorry,
it's okay. It happens.
Need to evaluate mining divine locations. And obviously, because the rune's probably not going to be as valuable in the lower ones. Superheat form. We were talking about changing it so that it works with smithing instead, since smithing works with heat, but it could do both skills, so we're not sure. And planning on keeping concentrated gold and coal deposits, even though there's no real need for them.
I wonder why they want to keep those, even though there's no need for them, just to keep the horrible community that it spawned.
Yeah, maybe keep them all locked underground. Yeah, Yeah.
You want to keep them underground.
The day this update comes out, you just like
seal it
just
off.
throw away the key to Living Rock Caverns so you can't get it out.
Somebody put some dynamite at the entrance. Never have to see that shit again.
Some interesting times down there.
Hannah, would you be interested in talking about some smithing?
I don't know if this comes up later on this because I think they've already mentioned this before, but they did talk about portables, and there's like a certain part of the community that's like super pissed that portables aren't going to be like portable smithings aren't going to be useful anymore. And personally, I'm super excited for the fact that like you will be able like smithing will actually be something you do at a forge again. And you won't have to, and you could do it at literally any forge. I'm really excited to see like that community spread out more, and you can see people like all over the world because the way this is going to work, like
This
all
should
your
be
ores,
interesting. Yeah, it's
all
a
your
shared
ores are going to
thing.
be stored in the forge. You're not going to be like leaving the forge all the time. You're going to be leaving like once every like 10 minutes or something like that. I don't even know how often it will be, but I'm excited. I'm excited to spread out the world a bit with this update.
It's going to be interesting. All right, so let's run into this here. So we have a new smithing interface, which at first glance kind of confused me just by looking at the image, but I think I understand. You select the ore you want to work with, then the type of armor you want to work with, then like what level of the armor you want to work with, and then it begins a new project.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
It just keeps, and
then it just keeps working on that until it's done, right?
Yeah, more of that. You've got to actually look. It's not just click and watch TV for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I think this is gonna work that way because isn't it drawing ore from your bank now, if I remember correctly?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Well, I think we're loading it up on the actual in the actual forge itself now. You can store all your ore in there, but it's going to be used at any
furnace.
Yeah, but I think it has a direct
so it frees up your bank.
But I can't remember.
I don't 100% know if it's directly linked to your bank, and I thought that was up for contention. Like they were still deciding on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Might be.
Because it'll free up so much more room in your bank. So that's why I think the whole idea was that they were going to do that. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
They gave us a preview of orichalcum armor, which I thought was quite nice. You know, it's quite metal looking. It looks like something that was forged by hand. They showed off the +3 version of it as well, which looks like a slightly more badass version of it. So orichalcum armor is, do we know what it's set to be the level for orichalcum? Because this looks like a...
orichalcum I think was a level 80, wasn't it?
Might be.
I think that sounds right to me, but yeah, hard to remember exactly.
I forget off the top of my head as well.
It was a 70 or 80 anyway.
One of my biggest other frustrations with this is that all the armor below the tier 92 set is just going to be tank armor. And tank armor does not have a use in the game currently, for the most part. I know some people still use it because they don't want to spend the money on other armors, but it's like legitimately cheaper just to buy bandos, and bandos is better than any tank armor in the game for 99% of the things you're doing. I kind of wish they would have. I hope that we either see more uses for tank armor in the near future, or that they do something. Or I really wish they would just make this all power armor, but like a lower tier. Like I was saying, like make the power armors, make like a tier 55 through like 85 power armor sets, and instead of making, because we already have like a tier 80 set, we have a tier 90 set of power armor. So obviously you can't
make those
on the same level as those, but you can make ones that were slightly lower to kind of fill in a gap. But I don't know.
But then you'll have all the next hunters crying that their level 80 next sets are going to be devalued because you've got 85 smithable ones now.
Oh, a PVM update devalued the humanity of it. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I
know. It would just be so sad.
They just I mean, they wouldn't get paid. The next I think the next couple of lines is where we're going to get into the really contentious issue. So
yeah, so this is we were talking about this, I think, last night in our Discord, actually, and in clan chat, or one of the two, anyway. But yeah, the no intention of adding set effects to armors, but if absolutely need be, if we can't make Masterwork and upgraded Masterwork armor to be good enough, we will consider adding it to them. The smithable tank armors will not be competitive, even with set effects, so we aren't even going to consider it for them. So first of all, yes. It's
a waste of fucking time to make them. Like you were literally wasting time making that tank armor for tiers 60 through 80. Like that's literally just there to fill out the numbers. Like give it a use.
And you have actually, you just said that whole thing yourself
What
there.
is going on with RR, man?
Yeah, no, sorry, just something just stabbed me right through the heart. I can't believe this.
No, that's when this is where I started to, my blood began to boil a bit, and I'm just sitting there going, well, why are we bothering with this at all now?
Yeah, that was a real.
Oh man, Pern, at least your blood's boiling. My blood's leaking out of my body
Running
right
cold.
now. I can't believe this. That sentence makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Well,
a set effect won't be effective, so we're not even going to consider it. We'll make a better set effect.
Well, the problem is, I mean, I get what they're saying. There is no use in the game for tank armor. Like the only people who use tank armor don't know better or just think it's cheaper. Like that's why you use tank armor. There is no current legit. It requires a rework of how, like, armor in the game works to make tank armor useful. Like
it's just
but it feels like a huge waste of dev time completely.
Yep.
To make these new sets of armor, all these new rocks, and also have all these artists making these badass looking sets of armor, and they're basically just going to be glorified. Oh, keepsake this armor.
And that's what it exactly feels like. It's going to be armor you make to keepsake. Whoop-de-doo.
No, that just sounds sad. I don't.
It does.
So sad.
Yeah.
It hurts.
I don't want that to be the case. But anyway, they do mention last resort. It's sad that it has to be a last resort. In my opinion, it should have been like the first thing they do is think about cool set effects for these things.
And they're only talking about masterwork armors. They're only talking about like the T90 set that they're going to possibly add set effects to. I'm at least glad to hear them saying that because as I've said, like I have major reservations about masterwork armor actually having any value unless it has an OP set effect. So the fact that they're open to that as something to do is a good thing.
They're also trying to get the Combat Council to agree for all the smithable tank armors to be non-degradable since they're not competitive with power armors anyway, which that seems fair. I mean, this is welfare. This is gear that you're using to basically save yourself money.
That's the only way it would be useful is if it's not degradable. The only way it would have some kind of use.
Yeah, this is gear that you like get through your your Slayer levels
Combat
with or
Council
something.
have said no, and they're trying to get Combat Council to agree with it. Okay, well, why can't the Skilling Council say, well, no, your bosses can't be dropping all this stuff because that's for my skillers?
I mean, the Skilling Council has been saying that.
That's
because there is no Skilling Council.
Exactly, there is. The Skilling Council doesn't exist.
I know.
I don't think that's true.
Right there pisses me off.
I just wanted to be a cheeky bastard.
I understand the frustration with this. This is why I had that long spiel at the top of this topic. But first of all, the Skilling Council does exist, and second of all, the reason we aren't seeing a ton of drops.
Does it?
Yeah,
they created one. Yes,
there's a Skilling Council.
Recently created one. About
a few days ago.
Months ago, they created one.
A few days ago.
No, I'm pretty sure it was last year sometime. I could be wrong.
It was during Runefest. It was like a little before Runefest, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But anyway, I understand the frustration. Like these sentences frustrated me too. But there actually has been work made in. If we have a topic later talking about Solak profitability, like JX is clearly taking a step back from OP, skilling drops on drop tables. So, yeah, this is the part where I was earlier saying we need to think these conversations always happen within a company when you're talking about updates. You talk with every team, you talk with the combat team, you talk with the skilling team. That's how this shit goes. Obviously, our anger comes from the fact that skilling has felt so ignored for so long. So I get it. I think there's progress being made here. Not as much as I'd like to see, but I think there is some.
We're slowly getting there. It's just at the end of the day, we've got the skilling side of the game is bigger than the PVM side of the game. So why has it taken so long to balance it out?
Because a lot of damage was done.
EOC. Yep. And that's it. I mean, EOC did hurt the game, so they have been mollycoddling the PVM community for so long, and it is hard to now step back from that because it has been going for so long. It's expected now.
It's just, I don't know, the whole EOC's destroyed the game at this point. This was so long ago.
Yeah,
we're at a
but
point. We're at a point now where these PVMers, sorry, these PVMers,
My goodness.
they know how to play the system right now. They
Yeah,
know what they're
that's
doing.
right.
So why?
It was
why
it was
EOC
overlooking
even,
after them.
Why is it
We
even?
were overlooking it. There you go.
Yeah. Why is it even a problem now? They're playing the game. They're doing their 4-tick auto attacks, which we're going to talk about later. They know how to exploit the system. We shouldn't be complaining about this anymore.
That's right. I mean, look, worrying about that type of stuff, should have been finished in 2014. In all honesty, but they just got into that habit of always looking at that, always looking at that, and it becomes a habit, and that's the first thing they seem to look at every time.
I mean, I think the issue goes back further than then. I mean, I was talking about this. We were talking about this in Discord last night, like Mage was saying, but like, I think the issue, like, you start the shift of skilling. Well, first of all, the shift of skilling profitability going down, probably starts. Well, David says Pharaohs, which I think is possibly fair. I mean, I think it might have been a little bit later than that, but you look at like God Wars 1, and that's when skilling supplies really became like a mainstay on PVM drop tables. So it's really been like 10 years of this that like skilling supplies have just been more and more devalued. So I don't even think it's like an EOC thing. But I do agree that now they are worried to lose players. Like, they can't piss off a subset of the player base again. Yep. Like, the game can't afford to lose people like that.
I suppose, but I'm sure didn't we do some poll recently where it was like proved out that there's like more skillers than there.
Oh, there absolutely are more skillers.
45. Yep.
Yeah,
but doesn't mean they want to lose people who bought like
anyone.
Yes,
it's a fine line to walk.
It's still a balance.
This isn't a democracy, though. Like it doesn't matter that there's more skillers. It just happens.
There are more skillers, but skillers also a lot of them are okay with high XP methods. Like, a lot of skillers have just like the thing they chase now is 120s and 200 mils. Like, they don't chase the money, so that's part of what we see here.
They've been trained not to now. That's right.
Oh.
We've been brainwashed.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we have.
Or conned.
Well, I mean, literally, like, Mage has said that his number one motivator now is gold, now that he's back into combat. So there is kind of some truth to that statement.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't make money, really, when you're doing skilling, so you just have to kind of forget about it.
Exactly, but when you were just skilling...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the main problem is that... Sorry, I'm going to cut it.
No, you go.
I think the main problem is the PVMers think that we want it to be like a 50-50, like we want to make the same amount as the PVMers. Nah, we just want it to be like, closer. We want it to be like, 30 to 70 instead of the current like 10 to 90 that it is.
I'd be happy if skilling made up to 10 mil an hour in certain places.
Exactly.
Like, I would love it if skilling got like a Telos-like thing that was super in depth and was hard to do and took all this time and all this shit. I would love that too. But really, all I want at the core of me is skilling to somewhere, not just somewhere, to have a bunch of different skilling methods that make up to 10 mil an hour. That's really all I want.
Yeah.
Continuing on here, Mod Clumsy is currently working on Necronium armor, so hopefully he doesn't drop the ball. This is Mod. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I got it.
Geodes.
Dad jokes.
Yeah, dad jokes all day. Geodes. You can receive geodes as you mine. It doesn't work with gemstone rocks. Geodes are stackable. They're like tiny stackable treasure chests you get from mining that usually have a gem in them. So there are
I like this.
There are 3 tiers of geodes: sedimentary geodes, which are free to play; igneous geodes, which have members' gems in them; and unnamed geodes, which are quite rare, about 1 in 1,000, and have good, valuable loot. The loot is still undecided. That's interesting. So it's kind of like a more in-depth take on the geodes from crystal trees, kind of. Yeah.
Yep.
I like it. I liked them there, so I'll probably like them here.
Yeah, I really like this idea of adding like drop table like things to skilling to add profit centers. Like, you don't just have to get mining drops from mining, right? Like, give us different things that give us some kind of money. It's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
And I think they were talking about with some of these having access to the rare drop table too. So you have that chance of getting a Hazel Muse ring.
That'd be pretty cool.
From skilling.
So again, we were talking about the portable forge earlier. Here it's coming up now. Tricky problem because they're less useful because of the hopper. It would still work, but it wouldn't be useful. We pitched a plan for it, but the team weren't so keen on it. So that's pretty much where we stand as far as that goes. They might remain unchanged. Yeah.
Yeah, what I found interesting, they didn't tell us what they pitched. So obviously it's something the team
that we would like.
Said, definitely no. Because we,
yeah.
If we decided, hey, we do want that, but they have said definitely not.
Yeah, they don't want to tell us.
Yeah, so they just didn't mention what it was at all.
Yeah, if they don't mention what it is, then there's no hope of it getting in game because it
exactly.
probably was either too OP or conflicted with other methods or something along those lines.
It was actually going to be good for us.
Yeah, we would have liked it too much.
Can't be good for skillers.
No, remember when Jellyfish came out? They had to nerf that real quick. We might need to buff dragon armor. DX will be happy to hear that, and weapons to better than Orichalcum. Artisan's Workshop will have a new layout. They need to figure out if they need to buff Tetsu or not and add something more to it, or just accept that Elderrune armor makes it even less useful. Corrupted Ore will probably work the same way that it does right now.
On that line, can I say... Get stuffed. I use my Tetsu all the time, and I like it.
That's true. I see you down there at God Wars 1 with your Tetsu on. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wearing Tetsu to God Wars 1. But let's see here. Corrupted Ore I already mentioned. Smithable pickaxes can't be augmented. Thinking about renaming Furnace to Smelter to avoid confusion between Furnace and Forge. It's probably not a bad idea. Smithing Overload, which is, I think Killer Bunny was mentioning in the chat earlier, it's going to be untradeable. We have a pitch, and we want to know what players think. It'll be relatively cheap to make. It will require a high level of smithing, something like level 90, but will get better as you get to 99. Consumable item, the temporary gives you thorns, so whenever something hits you, they take damage. You know, kind of similar to how the Ring of Recoil works, I guess, but it only would affect melee damage. Probably only melee damage, as I just said, remembering that smithing is for melee, so we don't want it to be for general combat. So again, does that sound appealing? It was, I don't know, mildly underwhelming to me, but if it was tradable, I'd be all over it. The fact that it's not tradable kind of just makes it underwhelming to me.
Yeah.
Isn't the point that it's not tradable the whole point of the whole thing?
Yeah,
I don't,
well, that's, yeah.
I don't
but
like it. Though, yeah, go ahead, Pern.
No, I was just going to say, yes, the whole point of having a smithing overload is an untradeable reward for getting to that end, but really,
But what we really need is money-making methods, not more PVM. Like,
exactly.
As a skiller, I don't need a PVM benefit, and as a PVMer, they don't want to train smithing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. Smithing and combat do go hand in hand, but the smithers make the product to sell to the PVMers.
I truly don't understand why this is so hard for them to understand. Like, where is the disparity in the fact that skillers want to make things for money and PVMers want to buy those things because they don't want to skill and they make tons of money? Where is the... I don't understand where the breakdown in cognitive processing is on Jagex's end for that, like, that cycle. That classic MMORPG free market cycle. I don't get it.
I just don't... I think this untradeable, overload item wouldn't be such a big deal if the bloody armor we could make was actually decent.
That's also true. Smithing auto heater will cost 4,000 dungeoneering tokens. Everyone with a coal bag will be refunded.
That's nice.
Goldsmithing gauntlets will be reworked into smelting gauntlets. Currently, smelting bars go into your inventory, and you can right-click to deposit all into the hopper. The smelting gauntlets will make smelted bars go directly into the hopper. This allows for increased in the make X from 28 to make X 60. So you'll be able to make more per hour. And it'll be more AFK. Cannonballs will work like the old system instead of using new heat in progress. Need to make Varric armor good with a new system. Current quite useless if we don't make any changes. And I think that is pretty much where we stand with mining and smithing. Kind of on a mixed ground at the moment.
Yeah, I'm very very worried now that the. I was excited about this when it first come out, and just as more and more things seem to be getting sort of watered down a little bit, it's just not getting. I'm not as excited as I once was about it.
I'm still hoping that there's going to be time for this to turn around, but it does seem to be getting derailed a bit. I'm
trying not to be too disappointed right now. It is hitting the low point though. Let's just hope that it's one of those situations where you don't expect too much and it ends up being fantastic. It is a document, of course.
The fishing hub.
Yeah, fishing. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I wasn't actually excited about the fishing hub when they were first talking about it, but love the place. I was really, really happy with what they did.
I love the random events there. They work very well. So, I guess we can move along from mining and smithing unless anyone has anything else they want to bring up in regards to it for now. I'm sure we'll be checking back on it in a couple of months when the beta comes out again. Radio. So, Pern, would you like to jump into this article here for me then in regards to this new creature?
Yeah, someone has put up a plan for a new, and I'm just going to increase it so I can actually read it properly. New Silverhawk hunting creature. They want an Iron Man accessible. Currently, it's not possible for Iron Men to obtain Silverhawk boots, and there is a reason for that. I'd like to propose a new method that is more fitting thematically. Silverhawk, being a bird, would fit as a high-level hunter creature. Requiring 93 hunter, Silverhawks are rare spawns any bird flock. Like with other birds, you need to lay a bird snare and catch. Once you catch, the bird will impart some knowledge, granting you agility and hunter XP. You'll also receive 5 to 10 Silverhawk downs based on hunter. 20 to 40% chance to obtaining 1 to 4 feathers instead. You also have a 1 in 2,000 chance of obtaining the Silverhawk pet. On catching, there's a 1 in 40 chance to obtain a piece of the boots. Once you get all 3 pieces, you can assemble them with 80 crafting. You'd also need 500 silver downs.
1 in 40 chance, damn. That's pretty damn low.
You'll gain 5,000 one-off XP. The entire process can be done by Iron Man. As someone with an Iron Man account and with everything that's happening in it, no freaking way.
You reckon? I think this is pretty fantastic.
No, the whole idea of these Silverhawk boots is a non-agility training way to get your agility up. The whole idea of doing an Iron Man is to do it properly and do it tough.
Yeah, the way I'm thinking about this.
If you don't want to train a skill properly, don't make an Iron Man account.
I suppose I'm channeling my inner DXDLB, and I'm just saying it'd be nice to have this item available fully in the game instead of the previous it just being a treasure hunter item. And if you read the whole thing and put it out properly, this would take a long time to do, because first off, you've got to be, catching the birds, and there's a rare chance that one of these birds show up. And then when you catch the bird, it's a 1 in 40 chance to get 1 of 3 pieces. So, I think this would take quite a while. This is actually quite well thought out, I must say.
I think something like this should be added to the game. I think Silverhawks need to
just
be
not
in
for
game.
Iron Man.
Not for if it's available for Iron Man, you need to have 97 agility before you can access it as an item.
If you put this for in the game, you could just adjust the levels. Make it 97 hunter, 98 hunter even.
As a product itself for the general player, yeah, love the idea, but I don't. Not for Iron Man. Iron Man shouldn't. I stopped playing my Iron Man because it's just everyone just waits until those summer events and spring events and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, but those are way different.
Playing everything.
This would be permanent game content. I think Iron Man should totally have access to it. Like temp game content, Iron Man having access to it, I totally agree is a problem. But
Isophilia is saying that they're pretty sure that Iron Man can get Silverhawk boots from Thaler.
Yeah, I think they can.
Yes, you can do all that with Thaler. And that's it. And making it an easier way to get down. Anyway,
to me, this should be an invention reward. It should be something that's available at 1 I don't know, 120 invention even, and then you can make Silverhawk.
I do
then.
think you should be able to craft these items in game for sure.
If they locked it behind a super high level invention, then sure you could train invention before getting agility, but it would.
I'm super on the fence about it being for Iron Man though.
Yeah, it's tough. Another point is like, bloody hell, Hunter needs some updates. Am I right?
Yeah, and as I said, if you had a set agility level before the Iron Man can use them, or be able to sort of access these, then okay. But
what other permanent in-game thing is that it works like that though? There's nothing like that. I don't see how that there's no precedent for what you're talking about, which is why I don't support it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Silverhawks just allow. It's the same as the. If they do this, okay, I will agree to having this for Iron Man if these can only be caught in the wilderness.
And you have to be a hardcore Iron Man.
No, well, I mean, your normal Iron Man can go out there as well. But I mean, because things like, where you get your free farming XP, which I hate from, not the Bounty Hunter, what is it? The war bands out there, where I know a lot of people just train farming solely through that, have never planted anything in their life once they get to sort of certain level of farming, then okay. But I just don't think, Silverhawks, I mean, I don't like Silverhawks anyway. My bank is never use them. Every time I get Silverhawk feathers, I sell them. The Silverhawk down, I think I've got 3 or 4K of it in the bank just from rewards from things, and I've never ever used them.
I think Silverhawks just unfortunately have that prejudice of when they first came out, they were OP as if.
They still are. They're still broken.
Yeah, they are. It's not training. That's what I hate. And,
I feel like this idea would be good. All you have to do is just maybe adjust the numbers, make them quite a bit rarer. Instead of the 1 in 40 chance, make it a 1 in 200 chance. Just,
I mean, they're locking it behind high level hunter as well. Like this update,
exactly,
even you're not really saving. Like if you wait till you have 90 plus hunter and then you go for these things, it sounds like it would probably take till post 99 hunter to get these. And if you're gonna put off agility training for that long, you're really just hurting yourself a bit at that point. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Silverhawks are broken as fuck, but I don't know how you I don't know. I don't know how you fix something like that, because I mean the problem with Silverhawks is they completely ignore the skill that they are quote unquote associated with, and they're in the game as basically a band-aid on a skill that is shitty to train and has no use. Like Silverhawks are basically a band-aid on one of the most broken skills in RuneScape.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be my my Pokemon Go biased here, but I think it would be cool to do some hunter and then randomly get a shiny Pokemon, which ends up being a Silverhawk bird instead. It's a fun thing, just that randomly you're doing your skilling and it's a random Pokemon pops up, and I don't know.
I actually think they should be more accessible than that, but I like the idea of Silverhawks as a rare way to collect Silverhawk down. I like that. I think the boots should come from invention in particular. I think a great 120 invention reward would be Silverhawk boots.
Yeah,
fine with that.
Good way to put it.
If you've made it all the way to 120 invention and haven't come across a holiday in which they are free, then you deserve to make them.
For sure.
Anyway,
well, the spring cleaners in invention now too, and I mean that stuff's given away at holiday, but it's good. It's just good to see those rewards brought into game.
Yeah,
although I would probably be more happy if they just deleted Silverhawk boots altogether.
And I'd rather them delete Silverhawks altogether and rework agility and make it an actual interesting skill with real uses.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so you're 93 hunter and 95 agility you need before you can catch them. Maybe lock it behind that.
So, Perrin, you want to grab this next post and I'll take care of the last two?
Yep. This is from Becker, who's doing a survey for uni on RS. Please help. Says, "G'day everyone. I'm doing a project on the RuneScape community, our relationship with Jagex and each other, and whether this affects the game's long-term success. This is for my studies at university. If you'd like to help me out, feel free to comment your responses to any of the following questions and help out a fellow decade-long veteran of Gillinor. Cheers." So, his first question is, what do you think of the current climate is regarding Jagex and the community? Is it a positive relationship at the moment? Do you believe a positive relationship between Jagex and us is important for the game's success?
Okay, let's do
Second
this
question.
let's do this one by one.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do this one by one. So,
Yep.
what are your thoughts on this first one here? I
Is it
personally,
a positive climate? No,
yeah, you don't think so?
absolutely not.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, maybe like players at large, but like Jagex versus like Reddit is clearly not a positive relationship, and I personally don't believe that. Like, I don't think a game company can have a positive relationship with its players. It just doesn't work. Like, gamers are just entitled assholes, for lack of a better way to put it.
I think they do a good job of responding to the community, though.
Oh, I think Jagex does great. I just don't think there's any way to make players happy. Like,
well, not 100% sure.
But
Go ahead, Vern.
No, you go.
I think that you can make maybe like 60% of your player base happy, and that's probably good enough. Because I'm very surprised at how long somebody will play a game that they do not like.
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of balance it between pleasing both sides at different times. Like, that's what I've at least come to, like, I don't know, that's been my thinking, at least recently. Holy crap, am I lagging? I don't know if that's just...
I just died thanks to lag. Thanks, Jagex.
Wow, that was real bad lag. Yeah, their servers have been real shitty the past this week. I don't know if anyone, obviously other people have experienced it because we're just talking about it. Anyway, so that's honestly an interesting take on it, Hannah. I really didn't think of it from that perspective. I always thought of it more from just like how do their how much communication are we getting, and that must mean it's positive, right? Because we're getting communication, but the way it's received and the way people take, that is definitely needs to be factored in as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jagex does a great job communicating with the community, and I mean, I think like a lot of game developers do. But the more I see like how the community reacts to that stuff, the less I think it's actually possible for like there to actually be a good solid relationship when you have a big community. Like if you have a niche game that's a very small community, you can absolutely have a positive relationship. But if you have like hundreds of thousands to millions of players, like I don't think it's possible to foster a good relationship with them. Like, and maybe it is like as a majority, but as the vocal part of the community, I think there will always be a very vocal negative part that will dominate things like Reddit and stuff like that. And so I don't know that it's like possible to get past that.
I think.
Yeah, see, I totally disagree. I mean, I think the community as a whole, Jagex are very positive with them. I think, the players do accept most things pretty well. Yes, there is a minority negative portion that you are never going to please, but as a whole, I think they do have a very positive relationship. I mean, you look at when they do their live streams and that, a lot of people in there. Yes, there is. The OSRS OSRS is the best, and you guys suck and all that type of stuff. But as a general rule, most people are happy and enjoy seeing what's going on and appreciate Jagex feeling all that stuff with us.
It is hard to say though, because I must admit, like the current state of the world right now, a lot of I want to say children, I want to say maybe I'm 28 years old, but maybe let's just say people under 20 years old right now. There's a lot of people that aren't patient anymore. I'm gonna make a comment on.
Oh my god, are we really gonna do the kids these days bullshit that literally every generation has said for the past 2,000 years?
I really don't want to bring that up, but I must say I want to bring it back to Pokemon Go. I was playing Pokemon Go today, and basically when they released the trading update, they gave it to the level 40 players, which is the max level in Pokemon Go, And basically they wanted to do it so that the game was, they checked for bugs and all that sort of thing. And literally an hour later, they released it for the level 38s, and each hour they released it to the lower levels. And I had people in my Pokemon group whinging because they were under level 30.
People did the exact same shit when we were kids. There's no difference. You can't blame that on the current generation.
I don't know. I had a bit more patience back in the day.
I had a lot more patience.
I did not.
I don't believe either of you.
Well,
I'm 48 years old. We had to be patient.
Yeah,
I used to load a photo on the internet that took 10 minutes to do, and it was just the acceptable.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about the internet. That's
and you went and played PlayStation while you waited.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to wait. You played
minutes
before you sat there. You read a book. You wanted to watch a movie. You had to wait till Friday night when that movie was on. None of this,
the kids
going down and
is the dumbest argument ever made in the existence of time, and literally every generation makes it, and it's
unfortunately
it gets easier for every generation too.
Yeah.
Well, it very well may, but the psychology behind it doesn't change. And the fact is that we perceive time very differently as children than we do as adults. So what seems like an eternity as an adult is very different than what does as a child. Minutes seem like eternity as a child, but as an adult, like I can literally lose a week and be like, oh fuck, it's July? What the hell? Like, that doesn't happen as a kid.
The person that figures out how to teach patience to a child is going to be a millionaire one day.
If
it's something you can figure out.
When your collective experiences as a whole is like less than the time that you need to wait for certain things, it's hard to wait. It's just like you don't have a lot of experience to draw from. So
thank you, David, in chat for all your. I just appreciate David's criticism right now because, I have no patience for that argument. It's just not a real thing.
Sorry, what was David's comment, if you don't mind explaining?
I walked to school through 80 feet of snow uphill.
And I did!
I had
but
to
who
go
cares?
foraging for food, too, and make my own papyrus.
Right. Each generation is less and less patient. I mean, playing a game, MMOs and all that, you guys grew up where it was expected that you took time to get things done. My son and his group of friends won't play RuneScape because I've got to take a year to get to a max character? No way. That's what the character.
That just sounds like a personality type.
Example
that type
can even be applied to every generation.
It also can't be applied to every person. It's just
but
it sounds like your son and his friends are just lazy f's.
That's the entire school. No one will play that type of game because they want that fast in your hand. I can pick it up at any time and do it when I want to do it.
I do agree that there's
difference between generations, sure, but micro niche things do not mean a generation as a whole is less patient than a previous generation, or that the kids these days are just assholes compared to what they were 20 years ago. That's what I'm arguing about. You can find any niche example you want, but they don't equal a pattern.
We are the first generation and now have a video game disorder. That's pretty interesting, and that is not because people are lazier. It's just because those types of things are much more predominant in our culture. They're much more invasive. You can reach into your pocket and you've constantly got a screen. Right. You go home, there's a screen. You're at school, there's a screen. You're constantly in front of screens. It's a different lifestyle as well. It affects the brain differently. Your brain develops differently because of that. So yeah, there are definitely some
more impatient. You are expecting that more instant gratification.
Sorry, I was drinking some water there. I mean, again, I think that's a personal thing, and I think it's based on age as well. But anyway, unrelated to RuneScape, and also we got 2 more topics to go here, and the patch notes are the Shiny stream is live, and I want to see the dungeon.
Okay, so next up, what are your thoughts on the recent changes to the game? Which one is up to you? Do you like what Jagex is doing?
What are your thoughts on the recent change? Yeah, I like them. They've been good. They've been mostly good, right? I don't know. I think they've been mostly good.
Yeah. Personally, I think they've pretty much hit the winner every time this year. I mean, they have done. I don't think there's any egregious mistakes that they've made this year. I think every update has pretty much hit its mark. There are some which could, like we said, the current calendar and such, but it's nothing that hurts the game and does anything like that. So, I think at the moment, doing well.
Hannah?
At the current point in time, I think it's going to be very interesting when we do our end of year show, because I don't think
I was saying that earlier, yeah.
I don't think there's going to be many Bs. I think we're going to have As.
Unless they colossally screw up the latter half of the year, this might be an A year.
Yeah, well, even so, I think so far, I don't think there's been many misses.
No, there hasn't.
That's why I said I'd love to get Shawnee on just to talk about the first half of the year and the turnaround and the wins that they've had this year.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I somewhat agree, but
let's just review the first half year and just count that.
Right. Go ahead, Hannah.
I somewhat agree. I mean, like, they have been good updates, but I don't know that any of like the underlying issues of RuneScape have been addressed. So I still have like my concerns about all that shit, and that means stuff like I mean, these skilling updates have been amazing. I really love the training method that they introduced for thieving. I really love the new divination method. Deep sea fishing is beautiful, but like none of these have addressed like profitability and skilling, which is still something I really want to see actually addressed and taken care of. So as much as I like these updates and they're good, they're still not. It feels kind of like the Arc did to me, where they're not addressing what skilling actually needs, even though they're good updates, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Skilling needs to go to 120.
I guess to instantly break my argument, I suppose just like last year was so shit. I suppose we're like, oh hey, this year it's okay, so it's fantastic.
I also didn't have as much of a problem with last year as most people did. I think Metafrost
I had a pretty bad year last year.
One of the most important updates the game's ever had.
I think Hannah, you and me really need to go back and review that year. We were meant to do it. Maybe we should go back and do that. We're way overdue. Maybe we should do that.
That'd be an interesting show.
Mid-year, previous year review.
Do a midterm.
We were meant to do it, but I think we should go back and do it. Just you and me, yeah.
Fine, exclude everyone else. I see how it is. All right.
You guys already did it.
Yeah, you already reviewed last year.
Oh, were you not? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we weren't there. We were gonna do it. We just never got around to it.
Yeah, just do this year. Yeah, do a midterm this year. I'd like that. Anyway, let's continue on, shall we?
And the final question, two more questions. What is your opinion on the frequent conflict between old school and RS3 players? What impact, and if any, does this have on the game's success?
And moving on to question number 4.
OSRS are just lucky that we have us.
Oh, God, Elsie.
I mean, I hate personally, I make jokes about it, but I hate the negativity.
I do too.
And I think it...
Definitely.
I think both. It really hurts. Yeah, I think both games are super valid, and I think that like
it's okay to be bi-curious. You can like both games.
Yeah, I think in particular, like old school's hate of RS3 like actually hurts RS3's perception in the greater gaming sphere.
Dang
like
it.
Try to bring up the fact that you play RuneScape 3 like anywhere, and like it's just like Dan's game. What's RuneScape 3? Like type shit is like all you see.
So
like,
you mean anywhere
like
on Twitch?
Well, no, anywhere on the fucking internet.
Well, because I would agree with you. We were hanging out. We, as in all of my personalities, were hanging out in Kit Boga's chat, and they were talking about RuneScape, and I was like, yeah, 17-year vet here. And when I told them I played RuneScape 3, I was like all but banned from the freaking chat.
Yeah, and I hate that. Like, I mean, part of why I make fun of old do is because of like it's a way for me to get back at the fact that like the old school community roasts RSC, but like in the end, both games are valid, and I don't think it really helps either of them to like diss each other as much as we do, and like it frustrates me that like I don't think. Like I said, old school's the game that's talked about the most, so therefore they get to set the perception of RS3 essentially, and the perception is that this game is garbage, and I don't think that's at all true. Like you can look at what is done here. Sure, you got a problem with microtransactions. Sure, they kind of suck, but microtransactions, as proven by a friend, are not currently OP. Like they are shitty, but they're not like some broken pay-to-win game like everyone claims it is. Unless you got $20,000 to spend on RuneScape, which if you do,
I did, I would.
more fucking power to
I'd
you.
buy all bonds though.
But
And
it's
a party hat.
yeah, it's just like I wish the perception of this game of RS3 was different, and I think that perception has been fucked over by old school players who don't like the game. And I think it's a gaming community problem in general. Like if you don't like a game, then the game is just bad, right? And I have this issue myself. It's something I actually try to move away from in my life. Is like I don't want to call most things objectively bad. Obviously, there are things that are objectively bad. If someone is being racist in some way, then I have no problem in calling that bad. But like, if I didn't enjoy this movie, like I don't know, like look at like the best example I can think of maybe is like the DC movies. I'm not a big fan of them, and there's big problems with them, but some people enjoy them. So like, who cares if you enjoyed Batman versus Superman? Like, more power to you.
Has anyone, speaking of DC, has anyone seen the new Scooby-Doo comic?
No.
All right, DC has literally, I think they're smoking PCP. I'm gonna
that hurts.
spoilers for anyone who wants to read. This is a comic. It's not, I don't think it's coming out in any other shape, form, in a comic. First of all, they killed, again, I'm going deep, and this is because the article did as well, and I don't think anyone wants to read this anyway, but they killed
Scooby.
They killed Fred, which is, whatever. And
good. Fuck Fred.
Velma is dating Scooby. Velma and Scooby are in a relationship.
What the hell?
It is the weirdest thing in the, like...
So they're promoting bestiality.
Basically. And there's zombies and it's weird.
Geez, so this comic was written in Australia.
Why isn't Velma dating what's her name?
I don't know. I read an article. I saw some pictures I wish I didn't see, and that was that. I think the article was on Polygon.
You sure you went on Pornhub?
Yeah, which porn sites are you looking at?
Hang on, I'll find the article.
MageBit, what are you doing?
New Scooby-Doo comic creepy.
All right, what's this last question we have to answer?
Okay. What do you think of the future of the game? Will it die soon? Will it last for ages? And why? So I'll let you go first, Hannah.
I think the future is better than most people think it is. Like, I don't think either game is going anywhere anytime soon. I don't see a reason why RuneScape ever has to die, to be completely honest, or any modern MMO has to die that has a crowd. Like, the only thing that's gonna have, like, unless like the player base just takes a nosedive at some point, I don't think we're gonna see the game die anytime soon.
I tossed that in the chat.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, with the whole how the world's changing, the games that people play, and the mobile games on the rise, and PCs going down. All that. I reckon the game's got at least a good 5 years left before we start seeing sort of like a degradation where it just disappears. And I want to be there at the end, but I reckon 5 years at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got their 5-year plan, and I think it's still long-term. It's still got plenty of life left in it. Whether the current RS3 iteration or whether it's, their RuneScape Remastered, where we get into RuneScape 4 and sort of start moving to that. One thing they do need to be very careful of is a stagnant community, and that's why I'm a big, I push taking skills to 120 and move, starting to move on as you get sort of an aging community, as the characters are sort of heading towards that higher end, maxing area. But I still think it's got plenty of life in it. And both games, as you said, OSRS has such an influence on Twitch. They
certainly do.
Hardcore people over there. I mean, everything. 90% of RuneScape videos are RS over
90% is actually like being kind of like not even fair. It's crazy. I was looking at it the other day because I was like, I don't really generally look at RuneScape stuff on Twitch, but I was curious to see, what the views were split, because there was like 14,000 people. Like, RuneScape is quite often front page for Twitch. And, I was just wanted to see, like, what communities existed and whatnot. And there was literally, like, maybe 3 people streaming RuneScape 3 at the bottom with between 0 and 3 viewers. Like
There's
we might be at an all-time high right now with 4. Go ahead.
I think you're underestimating the RuneScape 3 community a bit. There has been a lot of growth in RuneScape 3 popularity on Twitch in the past few years.
There definitely has been growth.
There's a lot of streamers that pull in a few hundred views. And the other thing is, there has not been any growth on the old school side. Like, Twitch has blown up in like the past 2 years. The old school Twitch community used to be like, yeah, sure, it's still on the front page. I'm not trying to say it's dying, but it hasn't exploded with Twitch. Like, the old school community has basically stayed the exact same size that it was 2 years ago, where 2 years ago it was like always like top 5 or like top 8 games on Twitch. One of them was going to be old school RuneScape, and it's not like that anymore. Old school is like much closer to the bottom of the front page. So yeah, that game is doing well, but it's not like it's growing. It's definitely doing well, but it's not like exploding like it at one time kind of was on Twitch. And I honestly think, like, as someone who I've kind of followed the RS3 Twitch community a bit more, like, that's where a lot of the growth I've seen has been, where there's a lot more, it's mostly PVM focused, but there's a lot more people who are streaming that game and pulling in a couple hundred viewers, which isn't a ton on Twitch, but it's still a lot for
Ryan at the moment, the RS guy. I watch a lot of his streams sometimes because he sort of gets on about the time I'm up. He constantly has 300, 400, 500 people sometimes, and even now he's up against RuneScape itself.
I've seen him.
2 people on there.
Damn.
Yeah, I've seen him pull like 600-700 without, just playing RuneScape on a regular. I mean, when Solak came out, he had thousands. I'm pretty sure watching.
Yeah. The Solak ones are
which is awesome.
I think at the end of the day, the fact we have old school RuneScape, even if us real players don't enjoy it too much, I think at the end of the day, having old school RuneScape is going to keep RuneScape 3 around longer than it would have been if old school never existed.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I have no problem with old school. I think it's become its own thing. If people want it, then it should exist.
I also think, like, controversially, but I don't think that old school is a tried and true game. Like, it stood somewhat of the test of time, but RuneScape 3 is a game that has existed for 17 years now, something like that. Old school RuneScape has existed for 5.
No, seriously.
No.
We're not arguing that old school is.
No. Let me finish. Let me finish my point.
Yeah, sorry. You go.
My point is that, like, I don't think that old school's continued existence is as proven as RuneScape's is. Like, I'm not saying the game is definitely going to die, but I think it is worth keeping in mind that the game has not been out as long. Like, already there's a part of that community that wants the game to have better graphics and stuff like that. They want eventually JS is going to have to move away from the Java client, all that type of shit that kind of leaves old school's like future partially in question. As to what they do there. Do they go to RuneScape HD? Do they remake all the graphics themselves? And at that point, what's the difference between RS3 and old school? Like, those are the kind of things. Like, are people gonna want to play a game that looks like old school RuneScape in 10 years? I don't think so, but maybe they will.
But at the same time, that's the whole point of old school. You can't.
I still want to play games that look like they're on the Super Nintendo.
Sorry, I think that you were right that. That when old school came out, that was the point of it. But I think the game has clearly grown beyond that, where what drives old school now is new content. It's not nostalgia for the game as it used to be anymore. And I think to keep that game's community intact, there's going to have to be more stuff like that, potentially to the point where they update graphics. I don't know, but I think all that stuff is possible.
I can't wait for 2020 when we get old school RuneScape.
When RuneScape Classic 2 comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, mate, you're totally right that people play classic games still. Go ahead, Brent.
And I was going to say exactly the same thing. When the whole thing of 07 RuneScape come out, it was you needed 500,000 votes for it to come out. It didn't reach that. It got 420 something. But they decided to do it anyway, and it was going to be okay. We'll maintain the servers. We'll maintain the game itself, but you're not going to get updates. You're not going to get this. Within 6 months, people were screaming for updates.
Yeah.
Then they wanted the GE. Then they wanted God Wars, and then all of a sudden now we want new quests and all that, and that's it. I mean, it's not a nostalgic game anymore. It is its own beast.
When they add
it's
dungeoneering,
obviously a
they've
lot
gone too
easy.
far.
It's got its it's obviously a lot easier to code graphics wise. It doesn't need as big a graphics budget with with the graphics and such over there. But as we said, when Java does go and when we move away from that completely, it is going to be very interesting to see what does happen over
Even
there.
using Java like now is like, I mean, it's super fucking dangerous to be on Java at this point. Like the old school community is kind of beyond the point where they need a community. And you look at like, I believe like the next version of like Mac OS like won't be able to run Java, and like I'm sure that like some third party will make a workaround for that. And I know that the Mac community is probably not the biggest, old school side of the community, but still, like, how long until like Windows decides they have to do that? Like that stuff is definitely coming, and you can even see like when the RuneScape HD client.
Compatible, though.
Oh, sorry. What was that?
I just wanted to say that Windows loves to be backwards compatible, so it will probably it'll round a lot longer. That's all.
That's 100% fair. But or even like what happens if like Java stops getting security updates and it's just not secure to run anymore? Like I don't.
I'll be back.
Because I think old school uses even like an older version of Java, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so I just think that all those things are worth keeping in mind. I think that game is going to have to evolve to hold its popularity. It can't stay the retro-looking game that it is for 20 years or even or more than that. Like honestly, like I like even like the riots 2 years ago when Jagex shut down like the RS HD client that was available for old school. Like that shows that there is like interest in having better graphics in that game. Anyways, do we want to move on, or people have other stuff to add?
So OSRS 07 will become OSRS 10.
It's already probably 09.
All right.
Yep. So that's basically. But yeah, no, I just thought that was interesting. Some interesting questions.
Yeah, it's a good survey.
Definitely.
Are you back, Mage?
I am back. All right.
Cool.
Sorry.
We're ready to remove Vortic auto attacking from the game.
We are ready to remove it. We sure are.
Begun says, it's clearly bug abuse. I personally learned how to Vortic auto attack, but I don't like it, and how it dominates the game to become Magescape. That is going to be my private server when RuneScape shuts down. And now Solak is out, and many people just go up on it, seeing how Vortic auto attack is a requirement, specifically Phase 4. The game is great, the content is great, just please deal with the minorities, I beg you. Could you word that differently, please? Yes, in before, the Vortic auto attack users rant how they want to be superior over a bug. It can be fixed many ways. One option is to remove the spellcast from being put on the bar. Another is blocked abilities for every few seconds at weapon switch. And the Vortic auto attack issue isn't for Solak only. I used it as an example of how it ruined the fun for all PVMers who don't support it. Okay.
Besides the fact that this guy, MageBit seems enthused by this post, his potentially racist BS. I actually think.
Go ahead.
I actually mostly agree with what he is saying here. Especially the fact that the game is completely dominated by Mage. I think that's pretty damn true.
The game is dominated,
and not MageBit, but Magine. I mean, by both. I mean, you're on 24 hours a day, so the game is also dominated by you. But no, I mean, I do not think Vorticking is healthy for the game. I think that like it cuts down on accessibility of combat. I also think that it hurts the value of other combat styles. Like when I talk about the value of like melee armor and like how I expect the -15 rework to be somewhat useless, part of that is because like it is basically best to mage everywhere. Like any boss that has come out in the past few years, like mage is king because we don't have anything that's weak anymore, and you can't Vortic on the other styles. I think they either I think there's two approaches they take. They either need to remove four ticking or they need to allow four ticking for all three styles. Personally, I think they should remove it because I actually agree with this guy that it is bug abuse. And not that I think people should get banned for it because it's been an accepted thing at this point, but it's not like a well-designed mechanic. It's a bug that people have decided they like, and so it's kept in the game, and I think it throws off balance by a lot.
It's not how RuneScape should be played.
Well, I know there are plenty of people that would disagree with that. I personally have no interest in learning Fortic auto attack, though, so I'm not gonna back them up. But I don't know how large the Fortic auto attack community is. It seems to be large enough that it has remained in the game through multiple like death sentences. And I don't know if that's more just because they don't know how to remove it.
Well, no, they do. I mean, they just have to remove the ability to cast auto attacks in Mage. Problem solved, honestly. Like that would honestly be a bit extreme because I think that would hurt Mage in some ways. But they're like it's not actually that hard to remove. Like we know how they caused it, and they could fix it. I think to me, four ticking existed. It's the greatest example of listening to the PVM community too much. Like we've talked, it's kind of been a theme of some of this episode, and I've kind of pushed back against it at some parts. But four ticking remaining, especially after they said they were going to remove it, like at RuneFest last year, and then walked back that decision, is a great example of like PVMers especially because it's not even just like listening to PVM. It's clear that like PVMers at Jagex have a greater say in the game than they should. Like I think whoever those people are that enjoy four ticking at Jagex clearly have too much power in decisions that are made. Like I don't think if you can look at it objectively, and I understand being a fan of something like this, like it's a niche thing. It looks fun, but it's adding this bug to the game.
It's when you get those groups that are like, you're not going to join our group for this PVM unless you can do this.
Well, it's not even. I mean, that's definitely a thing, but I don't think that happens as much as you think, and I don't think that that's what's keeping people from getting into those groups.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that issue is a bit blown out of proportion, and I don't think that that's why it should be removed. Like, I just don't think like it's a valid mechanic. It's really basically what it comes down to for me. Like, it's not a mechanic; it's a bug that has been like just ignored. I mean, much like walking, right? Like when they removed walking bosses, people got mad about it, but like that was a bug, and that was a bug that existed in the game for 17 years.
The thing that bugs me the most is like, I think if you take it away, I don't think anyone's gonna quit. Maybe you lose one or two people, but really, are you gonna quit? Because if they take it out, all right, what's gonna happen? Maybe some people quit. It means that well, you know, maybe it makes the profits of the drops go up because there's less people doing the drops. Are you really gonna, you know what I mean?
I saw in the chat saying they've been kicked once for not using Fortic. So I mean,
yeah,
I'm definitely not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that I don't think that's a reason to like that's not the reason to remove it, because people are gonna make elitist requirements no matter what, even if Forticking wasn't a game. You know, they'd be like, "Are you canceling all your abilities on time? If you're not doing that, then we're gonna kick you." Shit like that.
And I was just going to say, Ara, man, I'd never not let you join my group for not using Fortic auto attack. But the fact that you're New Zealander, you can't join my group.
Yeah, no, definitely no. I wouldn't join an
Pern
group.
And I mean, after seeing,
I don't know how you do it, but you just steal my shit somehow.
After seeing you die at God Wars Dungeon 1 yesterday, I don't know if I want you in my group.
Oh my god.
I was talking, I looked over and I thought, oh shit, and I didn't die, it just my cape rocked.
Okay. I mean, like, and I do want to say, like, a lot of times when I complain about Forticking, or even when I complain about skilling profitability, people love to say, like, oh, you're just a skiller, blah, blah, blah. Of course you want that stuff. Like, I do PVM in this game. I have not Forticked yet, mainly because I have RSI issues, so I can't Fortick currently, but I would love to learn it just so I can get rid of even those arguments. But it's not like I don't like combat, and it's not like I don't like in-depth mechanics in the game. It's just that I don't feel like Forticking is the right way to go about that. Like, add depth in some other way. Like, we've already got a fuck ton of weapon switches. I think there's an argument that combat is already too obtuse and that forticking just adds to that. But if we want some other niche way to do things, like, we need to develop something. We can't just like leave forticking in, because it breaks the combat triangle. Even if you don't think it's bug abuse, and I don't mean like bannable bug abuse. Even if you don't think it's a bug that's being used, I guess might be a better way to put it rather than saying bug abuse, because bug abuse makes me sound like I'm.
I don't want anyone banned for this.
But
it's
like,
just, I don't think if you take it out, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. People are still going to play the game.
It straight up breaks the combat triangle. That's like my
exactly.
number one issue with it. Like, mage dominates everywhere because of it, and that's not good. And my secondary argument is it makes it less accessible.
Everywhere. Mage dominates. Mage
in the bedroom.
Dominates the whole thing everywhere.
It's true.
Mage is only supposed to dominate in the bedroom. I don't know what's going on.
Exactly. I don't. Get on your mage bit.
I want them all banned and their party hats given to me. If that's
fair.
not going to happen, then don't worry about banning them.
Continuing on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't care one way or the other on Fortic auto attack. It's not something I can do or am interested in learning. I just think they need to look at bosses in the future and maybe making them, perhaps a little bit more resistant to mage as opposed to melee and range. Yeah, that may be a way to combat it.
Yeah, maybe if it's
it would be great.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying if it sees you, doing mage damage to it, it like gets enraged or something. Go ahead.
I mean, a while ago, I think it went back like a year and a half, you'd probably find me happy on the podcast that like God Wars 2 didn't have any specific weaknesses to styles and stuff like that. But now I think the opposite. I think we need to see bosses come out and each have a specific weakness, to combat stuff like forticking or even.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I would love to see boss weaknesses come back as a way to, not even forticking, but to combat like the fact that like even if they remove forticking, there's gonna be one combat style that's slightly better, and everyone's gonna use that. And I think we need a way to balance the game around that.
Boss weaknesses might do that as long as they are a significant enough reduction in defense for them that it's it out DPS's the other methods like forticking.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at like Nex. I don't think I know anybody who mages Nex. I mean, yeah, even that boss like switches styles, but like
true.
range is like the overwhelming most popular thing there, and I think that's because that boss of design there. Or even you look at like even older stuff. I mean, like somewhat older stuff, like you go back as far as like KQ, which is a big joke, but like that that literally just prays against certain combat styles so that you can't use them on that boss, things like that.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I personally, as somebody who has never really dealt with most modern bosses, I don't really have much of an opinion. Like I think back and to like maybe Calphite Queen and then she being weak to stab or something like that. That was like the last time I dealt with a boss and its weakness.
Yeah, we can skip this open discussion if you want, because it sounds like we're kind of running out of steam, and I don't know that we're gonna be able to discuss it super well in depth if we aren't all into it. You know what I mean?
We could save it and try to do something tomorrow. It's up to you.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow or maybe next week, whatever works out.
Then I can have a look at what it is, because I honestly don't. Because it's not something I do. I don't really look at that type of thing unless I hear anything about it.
All right. So why don't we end with the fun topic of what to buy with too much gold?
I wish I had this problem. So, Frogboy1313 here says, I've never really had more than 20 million at any time, and I sold a third age die last night for just under max cash. I already plan on buying bonds for the rest of my membership, and I also replaced my full Torva that I lost in the Wildy the other day. All my stabs are above 80, and I'm mainly a skiller, and I haven't gotten into bossing yet, so what should I buy? So what should Froggy buy?
Just put it all into bonds and buy a membership for the next 3 years.
Right? That might be the best solution.
Yep, I second that.
Keep it. I don't know. Well, just put it all in bonds and then cash out on the next big promo. That's all you got to do.
Santa hat.
Santa hat, not a bad idea. Which kind? Would you go with the regular classic or the black?
I don't think he has enough money for the black Santa, but maybe he does.
Black's more than max cash now.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
I really should have
Yeah.
bought that when it was $1
Damn.
billion.
Shane must have been making bank on that.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, Shane got one from he got it dropped. He didn't even have to buy it.
Oh wow, lucky mother.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm happy for him,
Lucky
but
mother effing
I
bitch.
never win anything like that.
He was also the one who took his Death Touch start down to Nex and got a double Torva drop or something.
Oh yeah, well I used my Death Touch dart on the wolves outside of God Wars dungeon, so you
That
know.
was pretty great.
You did what?
Yeah, I didn't. I had auto attack on. I'm an idiot, but
Oh,
I'm not. I've
That's
never
so
used. I've never used
emotional.
Death Touch dart before, but I should have realized JX didn't have any system in place for something like that. But yeah, I wasted it. It was a good time.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that's a classic.
No, you're welcome to laugh at it. It,
I
it was
love
it was
that.
hilarious.
I'll
that-
enjoy
that
that
wolf-
moment later on.
That wolf will
It's like
never spawn again. I'll say that much. And I mean, like, I would probably be more pissed off about it if I was like, not a PVMer. But it's like
yeah.
I wasn't gonna get a good drop anyway, so it's like I just
Yeah.
went. I was pissed off for like 10 minutes, and then I was like, whatever. It's hilarious. Who cares?
I mean, it's like David, elking his whatever I can't remember what he elked. Yeah, that's right. And it wasn't funny, but it was. It's like it's.
I think it was
that's
disassembled too, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Not
it was a
elking.
disassembled. Yeah, sorry, disassembled it. Yeah, and it's just like it's not funny, but it's like
It's not funny, but it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like seeing the guy crash down on his testicles coming off a skateboard onto a bar or something like that.
Okay,
You'll
now that's
laugh your head off, but it's like it's not funny really, but it is.
Anyway, I'm gonna end the show on that testicle crushing note. I do appreciate.
Ouch.
Go ahead.
So I was just saying, I am just over looking at the stream at the moment, and it is looking really, really good.
What stream? What are we talking about?
Oh, sorry, Shawnee's stream.
Oh, okay.
The,
What are you
Elite
talking?
Dungeons.
Yeah, I've got it on as well, and I can't wait to. I'm just gonna have to watch it
Yes.
back later, but
So
that's
how-
okay.
How's,
I'm
how's
excited.
it going to happen? I'll probably have to, go to sleep to when the update comes up. Are you guys going to do like a podcast?
I'm gonna
Like,
try.
live stream it when it comes out.
I'd love.
I'm gonna be. I still need a team, but I'm gonna do it at launch. I guess if Mage is around, I won't need a team, but it's up in the air. It's Mage has his personal and life stuff going on. So if anyone wants to team up with me on the podcast, I'm planning on streaming it. So hit me up on Discord and we can arrange things. There's a chance that I'll have to cancel with some people if Mage can make it, because I hope that you can, Mage. But yeah, I'm trying to make contingency plans.
I feel like this is an update where it's going to be one of those fantastic things where you record whatever's said while you're playing the update, and it will be fantastic podcast content.
It should be interesting.
Maybe I kind of want to stream like all day if I can.
If it's
but-
good, we'll do
Which
a.
is basically like when a new skill comes out. We've done that in the past where a new skill
Sure.
comes out and you have a massive conversation. While you
There,
do it, it'll be fantastic.
there will be tier 92 rewards available, so
exactly.
there will be money to be made initially on at least the first day or so. So it will be a good idea to plow through it if we can, and I'm gonna try to be around, but we'll see what happens. I might show up at like 10 or 11, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, anything?
So hit me up. Just to reiterate, hit me up on Discord if you're looking for. I'm looking for 2 people to go with me. There's a chance. Yeah, things are a bit up in the air with whether or not Mage will show up, so that could mean that I'll cancel on you. But if that's okay with you, hit me up and we can try to make some potential plans. And check out my stream, Queen of Blaze on Twitch. Hell yeah!
We can also rotate, like we can rotate who's on the team. We can do like one one person's off the team each time and do depending on how many people are around. Anyway, anyone else got anything else they want to talk about before we close it down?
No, I just want to say, Shawnee is doing it solo at the moment too. So while it is designed as a 3-man dungeon, it can fairly easily, by the look of things, be done solo.
Yeah, it just takes a lot more time, but the rewards are supposedly way better.
Is he doing it in Dragon Armor? I just want to know if
No.
DXVLB can do it. No, okay.
If anybody ever finds that clip about the day we told DX that Bandos was better than Dragon, like, I want that clip so bad. If anyone out there has it, please send it to me. I need it in my life.
That would be pretty great.
Yeah, when he realized it was only like about 5 mil for the set.
Yeah.
Poor DX. We love you, DX. Anyway, I think we're going to close it down then. Appreciate everyone who took the time to come out and watch live and everyone came on the show. Thank you. In the meantime, you can find us on social media. We got a Facebook page for you, facebook.com/RSWeekly. We're on Twitter as well, at RSWeekly. You can join us on Discord, discord.runeweek.com. And if you can, please take the time to rate us and review us on iTunes and Stitcher and any podcast platform you might use. You can also check us out in-game. We got a clan chat for you, Kill, Skill, and Chill. You can check out our Rune Clan rankings at runescape.club. You can also check out my progress at runescape.expert, and if you want to check out our YouTube archives, that's at runescape.video. If you want to help out the show, you can do so at patreon.com/runescape. By supporting the show, you'll get access to bonus content, including pre-shows and old Elite shows that we did, depending on how much you donate and whatnot, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, big special thanks to our top Patreon supporters, including David, Evastix, Sudwood, Ricky A, and Cody T. Thank you so much for supporting the show. It means the world to me to be able to produce it. We wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for our Patreon supporters, not just our top Patreons, but all of our patrons. Thank you so much. And everyone who comes out to view the show, thank you as well. And everyone out there listening to after the fact, thank you so much as well. Again, we'll be back to do it all over again next week. And I think we're going to try to do a little live thing on Monday so we can do Elite Dungeon. So check that out. We'll be live streaming on our respective Twitch channels. So until then, and as always, happy skeeping.